By Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com. Elevate your brand with Mako Custom Printing. Mako Custom Printing specializes in creating high-quality spiritware, corporate apparel, and promotional products that make your brand stand out. Whether you need custom printing, graphic design, or an online store for your school or business, we've got you covered. Make a statement with Mako Custom Printing. Visit us at mako.com to start your custom printing journey today. That's MEHCO.com.
Welcome, everybody, to Sports on Tap. This is the high school football recap show presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance. Make sure you give him make sure you contact him for all your home, auto, and life insurance needs. We want to thank the rest of our sponsors as well. Stick around a little bit later in the show to hear another word from all of our sponsors. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Professor Hype, Sean Duffy, Dr. Who's Noah Jacobson, and EVP of Social Media Content, Josh Jeffy. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope everybody had a great Turkey Day. Consumed a lot of food and had a good time with your family. We have a rare Sunday night show tonight, mostly in fact because the Browns are playing tomorrow night, and we certainly didn't want to, even though they are not doing very great. The Browns, we know, are still a pretty big draw in this area, and we certainly don't want to compete against that. But we do have kind of uncharted territory coming up here with the Sports on Tap group. It's not very often we get to cover a team that's actually in the state championship, but that's going to happen here. So we're really excited about that. We'll get to that here in a little bit. We're going to go through all the state semifinals from Divisions 1 through Division 7. Sean's got the PowerPoint ready for that. We'll talk about, Avon is the last remaining team in our coverage area. Rob will bring that recap, and we'll discuss Avon a little bit. And we'll talk about the state championship games as well. And then we'll certainly do a little bit of a plug for our broadcast coming up this Wednesday night from Elyria. We will be back on the air with the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League's Hockey Night in Northeast Ohio. We will be at Elyria to see an Elyria Catholic take on Normandy. We'll talk about that as well. You're watching us live on the YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you get the notifications when we're about to go on the air. Follow us on Twitter /X at SOT Podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify, Sports on Tap. We're also on Threads at SOT podcast _podcasts. Facebook, Sports on Tap. And our website is sportsontappodcast.com to get all the information about where we're going to be for the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League coming up here soon. And, of course, any questions, comments, concerns, send those to sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. Hard to believe, guys. The season is we have one more week left in the high school football season, and we do have a vested interest in at least in one of the divisions, and that's a beautiful thing for the coverage area here. And so without further ado, let's get to it from the state semifinals. We're going to broaden out our reach here a little bit to cover divisions 5, 6, and 7. We don't normally talk about them too much, but we don't have a whole lot of games anymore. So and we do have some local flavor with some of these other games as well. So we certainly want to talk about that. So without further ado, we'll have Sean, as he always does, has a fantastic PowerPoint. There we go. All right, the first game we'll talk about. We will have a new Division I state champion. Olentangy Liberty takes out St. Ed's 21-7. This game played at Mansfield Arlen Field, and St. Ed's finally met their match. This was a rematch, I believe, from it was a rematch from 2018. But Olentangy Liberty, it's been a minute since they've been able to get to this point, and they dethroned St. Ed's 21-7. They are going to take on Archbishop Moeller, the Region 4 champions. They take out Centerville 49-10, an absolute shellacking. You wonder if the ghost of Jerry Faust from above is helping them out a little bit here. Former Moeller coach and former Notre Dame head coach from the early 1980s. So Moeller will take on Liberty in the Division I state championship game. Congratulations to St. Ed's. I mean, winning as many consecutive playoff games as they have been able to win over the last 3 and 4 years. That's especially with the playoffs having expanded the way that it is. No small feat. So the Coach Lombardo and the Eagles, they obviously run a tremendous program. Congratulations to St. Ed's on their great run. But congratulations to Liberty and Moeller. They're going to do battle Friday night at, I believe they're at 7 or 7:30. I think but they'll have the primo spot on Friday night, day 2 of the state championship games. All right, let's shift over to Division 2, and in one semifinal, it was Cincinnati Anderson a 28-24 winner over Sunbury Big Walnut. Big Walnut took out Massillon last week in the regional championship, so we will have another a different Division II champion as well, and they are going to. So it'll be Cincinnati Anderson. They're going to take on the winner of Avon versus Hoban. You see the score, but Rob's going to bring you the details. Rob, Avon finally gets over the hump against Archbishop Hoban. Tell us about it.
I mean, what a game, Ed. And you know, watching this game from afar, Avon really started out pretty quickly in this one. Tyler Kaufman had a 1-yard run to get on the board. Then in the second quarter was Cam Wendell on a 5-yard run. So Avon was up 14-3 at halftime. And that 3 was pretty important by Archbishop Hoban. And give credit to the Avon defense, because their defense really had a solid day. And, you know, they did give up 149 yards rushing to Brayton Feister of Akron Hoban, the running back that, you know, we said in the preview of this one that they really needed to contain him because he's their main source of offense. They can run with him really well, and if he gets a lot of yards and touchdowns, this one can get out of hand. Well, they did just that. He had 23 carries, 149 yards, which sounds like a lot, but he had 90 yards come in the fourth quarter, and 20 yards on a rushing touchdown came in that fourth quarter. So Avon's defense really kept him in check most of the game, and instead of giving up some big plays and touchdowns, they held him to a field goal right before half there that Coach Elder said, talking to the Chronicle Telegram in Elyria, that, you know, that was a big stop for them because, you know, they could continue on. They were 14-3 right there, and getting out at halftime, it was Keontae Smith, a 22-yard touchdown run. All of a sudden, it's a 21-3 game, and the defense of Avon again held Hoban to no points in that third quarter. Then they would again score on a Keontae Smith, a 3-yard touchdown run. And this team just kept rolling. Hoban finally got on the board in that fourth quarter to put 10 points on the board, but it was already 28-10. And once again, Keontae Smith, a 6-yard touchdown run. He had 3 touchdowns in this game. And, you know, he talked after the game about it. I mean, he was a JV kid that just got a chance to play, and it started with really good blocking for him. You know, he did other things other than run the football to get on the field, and it was blocking, was doing the small things, and he got a shot, and look, it's really paying off for him. In a state semifinal game, he has 3 touchdowns and a 35-10 win by Avon. Again, it's Avon's first time making it to the state championship since 2011, and Akron Hoban, they finished 12-3 on the year, which is very impressive and a great year for Hoban. Avon advances to the state championship game, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, and that's Thursday night at 7. They'll face undefeated Cincinnati Anderson, who Ed just mentioned defeated Big Walnut 28-24 there. So that's going to be a really, really good game. Anderson is an impressive team as well, so I think that's going to be a big one. But how about the defense of Avon stopping Brayton Feister? I mean, that was 149 yards. You know, it's like I said, it sounds like a lot, but you know, looking at the stat sheet, Nolan Good passed for 175 yards. He didn't have a touchdown pass in this game, and rushing the football, he had 9 carries for 35 yards, but it was Keontae Smith going over 100 yards rushing in this game. You know, they have a lot of other players that can get the job done, even when Nolan Good might not be, you know, the centerpiece of this team. You know, Tyler Kaufman scoring, Keontae Smith. You know, they had Matt Maxey. He had 4 catches for 49 yards. And otherwise, you know, Grant Barr, 5 for 43. Cole Kepner, 1 for 13. So, you know, they held the passing game, I felt like, in check. But, man, a great game for Avon. Congratulations to them and Coach Mike Elder. Again, it was the 6th time in the last 8 seasons Avon and Hoban met in the state semifinals, and Avon finally got it done on this night.
Yeah, that's impressive. But what's impressed me the most all year, Rob, and you can kind of attest to this, having seen Avon, I think I've seen them personally 3 times this year, and just kind of following them from afar. They've had every kind of win this year. They've won close. They've won by blowouts. They've had to come back and win. They've gotten punched in the nose and had to respond. They've had, those close wins. So this team, and Nolan Good on this show has said it, and all the other people we've had on this show from Avon have said it. This is a different team, and they are playing their best football when it matters the most. And congratulations on slaying that dragon, because Hoban is not a team that is easily an easy out by any means any year. And and again, there was no surprises. Avon just went in and took care of business. And I know we were following that Friday night, and every time we checked the score, I think I was amazed that, because you were waiting for that, right? You were waiting for that Hoban response.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it was one of those situations where Avon got out to a lead, but Hoban had always responded all year. But credit to that defense, man. They've been good all year, and they kept them in check for the entirety of that game. So congratulations, Avon.
Yeah, and
definitely.
Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, definitely. And I really feel good for quarterback Nolan Bear, because last year he played half in this regional semifinal game against Olmsted Falls. He didn't play in the regional finals, and he didn't even play in last year's state semifinals against Holman. So it feels really good for Nolan Good. I mean, because overcoming that injury, I was able to talk to him back in July, and just he felt really comfortable going back into the swing of things in football, and he felt really good when I saw him after they beat Ignatius at Cleveland Brown Stadium. So it just feels really good for Nolan Good and the rest of that senior class and the entire players in that community, because it just feels good to get the monkey off the back against Holman. I mean, this was the 6th time in 8 years they met in the state semi, so it has to feel really good for them and Coach Elder, because he's been coaching this program for a long time, and he knows he's just one win away from getting that state championship, and he knows what's that task at hand going up against Cincinnati Anderson on Thursday night in the state championship game. So congratulations to Avon beating Holman in the state semifinals. A really big win for the Eagles.
Yeah, the only other thing. Yeah, there you are, Josh.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I was having a little technical difficulties with my microphone, but I just wanted to say, I was able to watch a little bit of this game on Friday, and when you look at the score, you would think Avon dominated, and they did. They played really well. They played a nice, clean, fun, play. They played a nice, clean game all around. All 3 phases of the game played well for them, and I saw this on some of the local coverage after the fact, and even Hoban, they resented the fact that they had so many penalties, especially in that first part of the game. The first quarter, they had 7 penalties, total of 13 for the game, and that really took them off their game. And I think that they were never able to recover from them. Avon, like I said, just did an excellent job, just staying what they're doing best, finding ways to win, what works best. Good defense. Nolan Good, he didn't have to do anything extraordinary to play. They just ran the ball real well. They played really good defense, and they just won a really good ball game.
Yeah, the only other thing I thought that was interesting was that Hoban had to pass the ball 20 times in this game. Their quarterback was 9 of 20 for 79 yards and an interception. I think that's a huge stat, because Avon's defense limited the running game, so they were forced, once this team gets down, they're not really made to have an explosive passing game, and Avon forced them to pass the ball, and you could tell that, Hayden was 9 of 20 for 79 yards, so it's not terrible, but at the same time, I don't think Hoban's made that way to really pass for 300 yards. They're more of, let's keep it on the ground and win with our star running back, and they couldn't do that on Friday night.
That's a very valid point, Rob, because if you look at the stats, Brayton Feaster had over 140 yards rushing in this game, which any other running back, that's a solid game for them. But the way he's been running, well over 200 yards the last 2 games, for Avon's defense to really hold them. And you brought an excellent point, Rob, bringing up the fact that they pretty much stopped the run for the most part, forced Hoban into passing, and that's not their game at all. That's a good point, and Avon did a great job on the defensive end.
And one more thing, the weather, it was a big factor in this game going up against Hoban. It was snowing right before the game. The snow was right on the field. And like you said, Hoban only passed for only 20 yards. The weather was a really big factor in this game, and that's just how Avon really controlled the game the rest of the way, with Nolan Good and that offense really just pacing the way for that defense to really control the game and get the victory against them.
Well, a point that was made in some of the local coverage as well is that Coach Elder pointed out that facing a stud running back like Casey Miser the week before really helped them prepare for Braden Feister. Miser, a younger, just absolute monster of a running back. They kind of got a preview of what that would look like playing against Highland, and they had another one with sophomore Braden Feister, and for all intents and purposes, they shut them down. They challenged each other, and they said, "This is what we need to do." And all of what you guys have said about Hoban not being a prolific passing offense, completely true. You even saw that last year in the state championship game against Massillon, a 7-2 loss. They really couldn't complete a pass, or they didn't really try to complete a pass that they didn't have to throw. They really relied on Lamar Sperling to try to get those chunk yards, and you guys are right. You're right. They're not built to come from behind with a passing offense. So with that, congratulations to Avon. We will have a state championship game from the Sports on Tap coverage area next week, and we'll get into that matchup here in a little bit. We have a resident Dayton/Cincinnati expert, Sean Duffy, can help us provide a little bit of color on some of the teams that are down in that neck of the woods when we get to that point. So Rob, great job, and you got one more week here for a Sports on Tap team. That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
All right, the Division III state semifinals, and we do still have the defending Division III state champion in play. Toledo Central Catholic, a 7-6 defensive struggle against the Fighting Irish of Youngstown Ursuline, and Toledo Central Catholic, we're used to seeing them blow teams out pretty efficiently here. Ursuline had a really good team this year, so I'm not surprised that this game was the way that it was.
Yeah, this game, as I was following the Avon game via Twitter and the updates and things like that, this game was a 6-0 game for the majority of this game. It wasn't until the final 33 seconds that Toledo Central Catholic came in and scored and then made the extra point. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Special teams will get you at this point, and, what could have been for Youngstown Ursuline. They got to be disappointed coming all the way over, playing a team tough for 4 quarters, but in the end, Toledo Central Catholic skirts by on a touchdown run with just 33 seconds remaining in the game to eke out that win. And like you said, they move on to face a team that didn't quite have as much dramatics going into their state championship run with Columbus Bishop Watterson. Beat London 56-21.
Bishop Watterson has a sore spot with you guys, doesn't it? Do I remember? If I remember this correctly?
Yeah, about 25 years ago, they beat us in the state semifinals.
Okay, that's right.
By a touchdown, I think.
I thought there was a thing with Bishop Watterson that you didn't particularly have fond memories of them. That's now I remember.
I respect them, but I don't like them.
Fair enough. So with that, thanks for the color there, Sean. Well done as always there. Central Catholic versus Watterson. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Division IV state finals, and Cincinnati Taft loses to Indian Valley, with that awesome name that we pontificated about last week. We'll just go with Indian Valley. They get the win 29-20. Sandusky Perkins defeats the 2-time defending Division IV state champion Glenville Tarblooders 13-11. And this was a rematch of last year's Region 14 final. They shifted regions here and the Pirates, they were able to take advantage. Glenville, they were a lot younger this year than they have been in years past, and it showed in this game. They had 4 turnovers that turned into 10 Perkins points.
Wow.
And they weren't able to finish. They had lots of opportunities in the second half. They were not able to convert they were not able to convert from the 3-yard line instead of attempting a field goal that would have given them the lead. You talk about special teams, and there have been very, very little weaknesses in Glenville over the years, but special teams has always been one of them. They've not been able to have a consistently good place kicker to always rely on when you need them to, when just as simple as kicking an extra point. That's something that's eluded them. The last few years, you haven't really needed it because you've had Damarian Witten and some other studs. But again, against a team like Perkins, you need to have all phases going right, and 4 turnovers and a shanked punt. Those are things that you can't afford to have in the semifinal game against a team like Perkins. And with that, Perkins advances to the Division 4 state championship to take on Indian Valley, a 29-20 winner over Taft. Division 5, the Division 5 state semifinals. We don't really have a local flavor in this matchup here, but we did see a game that did happen at Byers Field between Liberty Center and Canfield South Range. Liberty Center, a 48-14 victory over South Range. Henry County is where Liberty Center's at. Canfield down by the Youngstown area, so Parma made sense for this matchup. And Liberty Center took no chances there. They defeat South Range 48-14. Equally impressive, Ironton took out West Liberty Salem 63-21. And so that's going to set up 2 high-scoring teams with Liberty Center and Ironton in Division 5. In Division 6, a team that we are very familiar with, the Kirtland Hornets, they get a 41-7 victory over Galleon Northmore. They will be taking on the Coldwater Cavaliers, a 28-5 winner over Bluffton. Kirtland is in the state championship for the 13th time in their school history. They are in the state championship for the 8th consecutive year. They are looking for their a back-to-back championship and their 8th overall, spanning multiple divisions. But it won't be easy against a team like Coldwater. We'll get to that here in a little bit. So Kirtland, 41-7 over Northmore. And then Division 7 state semifinals, Jeromesville Hillsdale gets a 25-22 victory over Danville, and a team that we are that is just about as dominant at any level of high school football. Maria Stein Marion Local, 41-6 victory over Columbus Grove. Marion Local looking for their, I don't know, a lot of state championships. they haven't really lost too many games and as long as we've been doing this. So Marion Local.
Death, taxes, and Marion Locals in the state championship game. That's pretty much the way it works out there in Maria Stein, Marion Local. Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. So congratulations to the state to the Avon Eagles, most importantly, and also Kirtland from the Cleveland area for making it to their state championship games. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the state championship games here. And again, in Division 1, Olentangy Liberty is going to be taking on Archbishop Moeller. This game will be played Friday night. It's the primetime spot. Moeller is a traditional power. They've been good since the 70s, the 80s. They are just a perpetually good program. The Liberty Patriots, you take out a team like St. Ed's, that's pretty good. That you're going to give yourself a shot in any game if you're able to take out St. Ed's. Tell you what, let's go. We'll go with Noah. You've seen that you've seen St. Ed's against some of the teams that are in our coverage area. They shut down Menor pretty efficiently. So St. Ed's haven't lost to Liberty. What do you think? What are you thinking here in this game between Liberty and Moeller? And then Sean, I want to kick it to you with your Cincinnati and Dayton knowledge about Moeller.
Well, yeah, going into this Division I state championship game between Olentangy and Liberty, who's making their first championship game appearance, that just shows you why they beat a perennial power against the 3-time state champ St. Edward Eagles. They're going to be taking on a program who's really been experienced at this kind of level. I mean, they've been a powerhouse since like the 1970s. They're going through basically every decade. I mean, going up against Archbishop Moeller, who last won the state title back in 2013, which was looking for their first since 2013. So, can Owen Tangi Liberty give Archbishop Muller a game in this one? I feel like that's going to be the number one question going into this one. Is can Owen Tangi Liberty put up the type of performance like they did last week against this three-time state champ St. Amber Eagles, going up against a powerhouse in Archbishop Muller? Can they do it back-to-back weeks? That's going to be the biggest question going into this Division One state championship game Friday night.
I'm still curious as to see whether or not I wish the game, the regional final game, I wish that would have been played on a dry day, because I really think Menor had the team this year to beat Eds, and I'm really curious to see how far they would have gone, what kind of game they would have put up against Olentangy Liberty. That's going to be one of the big regrets of the 2024 season. I would have liked to seen that game played on a clear weather day, but it did not. And St. Ed's was the better team that day in those conditions. But props to Liberty for taking down the defending three-time state champion in Division One.
Yeah, a couple of things here. Notes on Archbishop Moeller and just how they got here. Their biggest win in this playoffs, believe it or not, was not the Centerville win last week. It was beating Cincinnati St. Xavier. Those two squads continuously, almost every single year, meet in the playoffs. And one of them, and I really do believe that it's been a situation where that game takes so much out of them. Whoever wins that game comes out of there so beaten and bloody and bruised that they sometimes get caught in those state semifinals. We saw it the last 2 years with Springfield. We saw it the last couple of years. So Moeller is hitting on all cylinders right now, and that's a scary thing. Considering the fact, let's consider a couple things. One, Centerville was a great team. They were putting up massive points. Not only were they held to 7 points or 10 points, but they also gave up 49. And that's a running clock situation on a cold night in the playoffs. We're talking running clock in Division I football in a state semifinal. That tells me one thing, that the coaching staff at Archbishop Moeller has this team locked in and laser focused. They don't care who they play. They don't care if it's St. Ed's. They don't care if it's Menor. They don't care if it's Springfield. They don't care who it is. I look for Archbishop Moeller to impose their will early and not make this, and not let Olentangy Liberty make this a game. On the flip side, Liberty has to continue to play with that mentality of why not us? And they're going to have to do it in a perfect setting. And what I mean by that is they are going to have to play mistake-free football. We talked about it. Josh did a great job breaking that down for Hoban. Hoban did not do that against Avon. And that was the difference. Avon played clean. Hoban didn't, and it cost them. Olentangy Liberty needs to do the exact same thing Avon did. Play clean and force Archbishop Moeller to make mistakes. They don't make a lot of them, but you have to capitalize on them when you can. I look for this game to be a bit of a shootout, I think. I think this is going to be one of those games that we're going to say it's going to be who has the ball last. But I could also see that if Archbishop Moeller gets on the roll, I don't know that they can be stopped. You spot them 14 points for no good reason, and you're not going to see them until they're raising the state championship trophy at the end of the game. That's the way Archbishop Moeller has played all year.
Great breakdown, guys. This game will be played again Friday night, and the Division I state championship game will be played at 7:30 p.m. Again, that'll be after the first two games are played. So Olentangy Liberty 13-2 versus Archbishop Moeller 14-1. All right, Division II. 30 victories between these two teams. 0 losses between these two teams. Cincinnati Anderson versus the Avon Eagles. We talked a little bit about this in the Avon recap, but not total uncharted territory for Avon. They made it to the Division II state championship game in 2011. A loss to Trotwood Madison. But they're taking on a Cincinnati Anderson team that has taken on all comers and defeated all comers. So this game is going to be, there's going to be haymakers thrown in this game, and we know Avon can take a punch. I'm interested in seeing how, Sean from the Anderson side, what do you think Anderson needs to do to take out Avon, and then or is Anderson better than we maybe realize because we don't cover them, and Avon has to be the one. I mean, you have to play a clean game either way, but what do you know about Anderson?
I know that Cincinnati Anderson beat my team in the second round, division quarterfinals, and it wasn't even close. And that's saying something because my alma mater, the Vandalia Butler Aviators, held the top 10 scoring team in the nation to no points the week before. So let's put that in perspective. Cincinnati Anderson, put a whooping on them, but they've been doing that all year. And again, these are legitimately, I think, the two best teams in Division Two. You can't make a case. They're both undefeated. They both have won all the games that have set before them, and now they are fighting for a championship. What I think Avon needs to do is not try to do too much. I think there's a tendency in these state championship games is you want to go in and impose your will. I think Avon needs to do what they've been doing all year and let the game come to them. Sometimes they need Nolan Good to be a great running back. Sometimes they need him to progress the ball down the field. Sometimes they need a defensive standout, or other times they need to be in a shootout. They need to rely on Matt Maxey both in the passing game and the running game. I look for Anderson on the flip side of this because I'm going to let Rob pontificate on Avon. Anderson can beat you multiple ways. They could beat you running the ball. They could beat you passing the ball. I think it's going to behoove Anderson to identify where they can get some movement on this Avon defense early and exploit it. Because the one thing that Avon is really good is making adjustments, not only at halftime but within the game itself. So if you find a weakness in Avon, you need to exploit it and exploit it for points going forward. I think that's how Cincinnati Anderson continues this domination and has an opportunity to win a state title here.
Yeah, Sean, you describing, Cincinnati Anderson, it sounds a lot like the Avon Eagles, because the Avon Eagles do the same thing. If they're not running the ball effectively, Nolan Good, he can run, but he can pass, and there's a lot of weapons, obviously, in the receiving corps. I'm showing you the video back from the Highland game. A little bit, Cincinnati Anderson, their last win was in their last state championship was in 2007. And their last appearance was in 2008. So, they have been there before. It's been a little bit of time. Noah's doing a little bit of research on that, so I want to thank him for looking that stat up. But, looking at Avon, I think what they need to do is just be themselves in this game. We talked about, obviously, shutting down the run with Hoban. It's going to be interesting. I don't know enough about Anderson, I guess, to say, if you stop the run and you force them to pass, that would be the way to go. Cincinnati Anderson, I'm going to guess, like Sean said, if they can pass and run, which are you going to try to eliminate and contain? Obviously, you want to force them into turnovers. And Josh made up the point about penalties. In the game against Hoban had 13 penalties for 85 yards. And Avon only had one penalty for 5 yards in that game. I think that's pretty telling on the discipline of Avon. If they can do that again and stay disciplined and stay right there, they're going to be successful. And they have so many weapons on the defensive side. We know their secondary is impressive. And obviously, in the trenches against these bigger teams, they have dominated up front, whether it's offense or defense. They've run the ball successfully in each of these playoff games up front. So give credit to the offensive line, for dominating at the line of scrimmage. And as far as defense, they've been in the backfield, but they've also been able to make the tackles and not miss too many tackles, going up high with arm tackles, and letting these big running backs explode and get big gains. When Hoban only gained 20, their longest run was 20 yards on a touchdown run. That's pretty good, especially with their running back. So look for Avon really to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. I think Nolan Good's going to have a pretty impactful game, whether it's running or throwing. But as long as he can limit his mistakes and not try to do too much, I think Avon can be successful and hopefully pull off a win here in the state championship game.
Yeah, it's hard to actually get a good read on Anderson because with the exception of one game in the regular season against Whitten Woods, they dominated. They didn't get challenged at all. In fact, in the regular season, they averaged 48 points a game,
Wow.
and then their defense only averaged only giving up 8 points a game. And then looking into the playoffs, they're still averaging 45 points a game. In fact, their first playoff game, they won 78-7 over Edgewood.
Oh, wow.
But those first 3 games in the playoffs, there wasn't much of a challenge there. But the last 2 against Big Walnut in the state semis and LaSalle in the regional final, those have been their 2 toughest games of the year, which you would expect this late in the playoffs against the quality teams that there has been. But I'm with you, Rob. If Avon can play a solid game like they have been, just all around, all 3 phases once again, running the ball, passing when they need to, it's going to be cold. Definitely going to be cold with some wind, I believe, on Thursday. But pass when they need to, run the ball effectively, and play great defense, and they definitely have a shot to win.
This game will be played Thursday night at 7 p.m. So this is with the expansion to 7 divisions, they moved one of the games to Thursday night, and it's usually been Division 2. It gets a primetime spot, kind of kicks off the weekend, and what a battle this is going to be between Cincinnati Anderson and Avon. And we're biased. I'm biased.
Heck yeah, we are.
I'm on Avon. I think we all want Avon to win this game.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they're in our coverage area. So we want a local team to win it, and we want so good luck to Coach Elder and the Avon Eagles taking on the Cincinnati Anderson Raptors. All right, Division 3, and as Sean's not so favorite team, Bishop Watterson will be taking on Toledo Central Catholic. Noah, you did the research. You get to do the talking. Tell us a little bit about these 2 teams.
Yeah, Bishop Watterson. I mean, they're looking for their first state championship for the first time since 2010. Going up against a team who has won it the last 2 years, the Toledo Central Catholic. I mean, for Bishop Watterson, let's hope they give Toledo Central Catholic a game. I figure that's going to be the biggest game because Toledo Central Catholic, I mean, they were down 6-0 going up against Youngstown Ursuline until they scored a touchdown in the last couple of minutes. So, can Bishop Watterson really give Toledo Central Catholic a game and really make it close going into the final minutes? Kind of like how Toledo Central Catholic almost lost against Youngstown Ursuline last week and found a way to win.
Here's what I'll say about Bishop Watterson, just from what I'm looking at. They score a lot of points. They have more computer points than Cincinnati Anderson, and they're a Division 3 team. They play some really heavy hitters, and so far they defeated Big Walnut. They defeated a 13-1 Steubenville team. They defeated a 14-1 London team. They are the one in both of those records. Central Catholic, they play a half Michigan schedule, half Ohio schedule. Their only loss is to Detroit Central Catholic, which was a 21-7 loss there. But for the most part, they've run roughshod as well. They played some really tough Michigan teams and were able to get by them. I think Ursuline was a really good test for them. Again, the weather wasn't exactly the best, and it's not going to be the best against Watterson either. But man, Bishop Watterson, they're and since the playoffs have started, they have not played a close game. It's been a running clock the entire time through, pretty much. So this is going to be. I don't think Bishop Watterson personally is going to have any issues hanging with Toledo Central Catholic.
I think it's going to be very important for Toledo Central Catholic not to fall into the situation they fell into last week. You can't rely on a team like Bishop Watterson not scoring points. They've been scoring points all year. They're used to it. Even they had weather themselves last week, and they still put 56 points up. So it's not as if the weather is causing them to have, not able to put up points. I think Toledo Central Catholic needs to learn from last week and realize, hey, we need to come out fast. And if we don't do that, Bishop Watterson will get up on you quick. Obviously these 2 teams are perennial teams that need to be facing each other kind of the same way in Division 2. Probably the 2 best teams in Division 3, I would say, hands down. And it wasn't by luck of the draw. It wasn't by, we didn't, they avoided playing. No, Toledo Central Catholic had to play a very tough playoff schedule. The same with Columbus Bishop Watterson, and they both won and got themselves here. I kind of feel like Bishop Watterson has the edge here because I think they have a little bit more explosiveness. Toledo Central Catholic, from what I saw, can put up points when they get on a roll, but also they tend to kind of play down to the competition. So if the team they're playing isn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard, they don't necessarily light up the scoreboard to put it away. They kind of let them hang around. You can't let a team like Columbus Bishop Watterson hang around, because if you let them hang around, you're already in trouble. You need to be putting your pedal to the metal and putting your, excuse the phrase, put your foot on their damn necks and knock them out, because otherwise you're going to if you let a team like this hang around, they're going to be able to come back and win this game. But this one is so hard to call. I'm looking at, obviously we're not saying lines, but I can't make a pick here. I hope it's a good game, but it wouldn't shock me if either one of these teams came out and just caught lightning in a bottle and went and put up 55 points. But I would also not be shocked if this was a 7-7 game going into the last 2 minutes of the game, and this is won on a field goal. Like that's the type of vibe I'm getting from this matchup. It's that it's too close to call, and I think both these teams are really evenly matched, and I think they're gonna, this is gonna be one that's gonna be fun to follow.
This is a rematch of last year's Division III state championship as well. So Bishop Watterson's looking to right that one, right that ship. They lost. It was a 27-7 victory for Toledo Central Catholic last year in this game. So we'll see if Watterson can avenge that loss this year. That game, that is a Division III state championship game. That game will be played Friday at 3 p.m. So that's going to lead into the Division I state championship game. All right, Division IV, Indian Valley. Again, we'll just refer to them as Indian Valley. They will be taking on Sandusky Perkins for Indian Valley. This is their first ever state championship appearance, and for football, for Perkins, it is their first state championship appearance since 1999, which is also the last time they won the state championship. We've seen Perkins over the last few years. Obviously, they lost to Glenville last year. They beat Glenville this year. They've played Rocky River a few times. They've had some wars with Rocky River. Not so much this year, but in years past. So Perkins is a really, really good team. I'm a little bit more familiar with them than I am with Indian Valley. So I just by virtue of I know who Perkins is, I like them here. I don't know if anyone has any insight on Indian Valley. If not, no big deal. I don't know if they're not down by your neck of the woods, are they, Sean? Or from where your old stopping?
I have no idea how to pronounce that name, so I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna pretend I know where that is or who Indian Valley is. So congratulations on Indian Valley on making it to the state championship. Your prize is to play Sandusky Perkins, who I think, in my opinion, won the state championship last week when they beat Glenville, because I think all roads go through Glenville in this division. And when Glenville's not there, I think the team that can upset a team like Glenville can counter that speed, that can force those mistakes. I think that team is probably set up to take down a championship. Don't know much about Indian Valley. Maybe they'll surprise me, but right now, I got to put all my effort in there into Sandusky Perkins. I've seen that team live this year and last year. They play with it. They play with a chip on their shoulder. They play mean. They play angry. They're well coached, and they are not afraid to tell you how good they are. So they're a team that, hey, you got to beat them to shut them up, and no one's done that yet this year. So
So just so we're all on the same page, Indian Valley, they're in Tuscarawas County, a little south of New Philadelphia, near Uricksville, Stillwater, Tippecanoe, Stone Creek, down in that area. So thanks for all those people down there for tuning in and listening. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from them. I just don't know enough about. I didn't even know where they were, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know. I've seen Sandusky Perkins play.
Yeah,
They got a mean attitude.
yeah, I had a chance to see them play Rocky River, but it was in monsoon-like conditions where we were able to get a real nice close look at the running game that put up 49 points. And, they dominated the line of scrimmage. They have a lot of physical guys up front that wins the line of scrimmage. Obviously in those conditions it was tough to pass, so I wasn't able to really get a good feel for if they could pass consistently good. They had some passes, but they weren't accurate. In that game versus Rocky River, they ran a lot and they dominated the line of scrimmage and jumped out to a huge lead early on. I think it was 21-0 at half, and then they ended up scoring another 28 in the second half. But that's a team that obviously is physical and they'll win and beat you in the trenches. The one thing I did notice when they played Rocky River is they had a lot of unsportsmanlike penalties. I'm hoping that discipline-wise they control that. Obviously in a championship game you're going to be pretty hyped up, but I know early on in the season they must have had probably 7 or 8 penalties that were unsportsmanlike, and most were from the players talking after the play. And then there were a few that the coaches were on the field. So that was early on in the season. Obviously Sandusky Perkins is a really, really good team that we have seen. So if they can obviously control, obviously you're going to be excited going into this game. And if you can be physical and win in the trenches early on and kind of impose your will, as they say, early on and get out to a lead, I think they're going to be in a pretty good spot here to win a championship.
Hey, it's just another FYI. Nottinghooten, that's what we'll call where Indian Valley is. It's a population of 1,240 as of 2020, and is Ohio's oldest existing settlement, founded in 1772.
Nice.
And it was a site of the Nottinghooten massacre during the American Revolution. The more you know.
There's our history lesson for here on Sports on Tap. You not only get sports information, but you might get a history lesson every once in a while.
Tell you what, Indian Valley, they can score some points. They offensively, I don't think they're gonna have any issues here against Perkins. So I think this will be a very high scoring game, like we've seen. Again, that's going to be dependent on the weather, but
yeah,
I think that game is going to be. I think that's going to be a pretty high scoring game. That game will be This game will be played Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. This is the last state final game of the season. All right, Division 5. Liberty Center takes on Ironton. Noah again provided some information. Why don't you go through it with Liberty Center and Ironton?
Yeah, Liberty Center, the last state title for them was 1997, going up against a team in Ironton who won the last state championship for them in 1989. So a couple teams that haven't won the state championship in almost 3 decades, I could say. But this is going to be a pretty good game. But let's see if Liberty Center and Ironton can really narrow the gap going into the last couple minutes of the game and see who breaks the drought in this Division 5 state championship game.
Yeah, Liberty, the defending Division 5 state champion is Perry, and they got moved up to Division 4. So they weren't really able to defend their title in this division. They lost to Glenville I believe it was last week in the conference champion, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, in the regional championship. So it's a wide open Division 5 without the defending champion there. And Liberty Center, they can score some points too. They've scored 70. They've scored, well, that was against an 0-10 team. I guess you can throw that one out. But even last week against South Range, 48-14. And I saw the Liberty Center bus pulling up into Parma and Byers Field, and I can tell you, it was not warm out on Friday night at all. And they brought a bus full of students. I'm not sure they knew what the weather was either, but I didn't think they were really that bundled up. But it sure as heck didn't affect the football team. They were dominant against South Range. Ironton, don't know too much about them. They're in Lawrence County. They obviously they put up some points last week too. So I mean, we got a lot of high scoring teams that are competing here in this last round, which really is no surprise. But I'm really interested in seeing how these teams are going to going to continue to battle in the elements, and if they're able to continue to put up the points that they've been able to put up this far. All right, this game is Division 5. They'll be played Saturday at 3 p.m. 15-0 Liberty Center, 14-1 Ironton. All right, Division 6. And this is a battle that we've seen once or twice in the past. The Division 6 state championship, the Coldwater Cavaliers versus the Kirtland Hornets. As we talked about before, Kirtland, this is their 13th state championship game. This is their 8th straight state championship appearance.
Wow.
They're looking for their second state championship in a row. Against Coldwater, Coldwater is one of the better teams in the state of Ohio as well. They are a traditional power, much like Kirtland. It's kind of weird how these teams all kind of move back and forth from time to time. We've seen Kirtland in Division 7. We've seen them as high as Division 5. We've seen them tussle with Marion Local. Marion Local generally stays in Division 7, but these two teams are very, very good. Tiger Laverty, they have such a great program up in Kirtland. The thing I like about these two schools, they're public school kids. They represent their communities, and they represent them very, very well. Kirtland, I believe, does not have a loss on their record. What was really cool a couple of years ago during the COVID year, Kirtland actually decided they were able to play up because every team made the playoffs. They had no fear of not making the playoffs. So they played Division 1 teams and Division 2 teams, and they beat them. So we know that Kirtland is a traditionally good power, but Coldwater is certainly no joke either. They're from Mercer County. They defeated Bluffton 28-6 last week. They've put up a ton of points in the playoffs too. These two teams have faced off before, so obviously different kids, but the programs are familiar with one another, and I think this game is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be interesting to talk to Kirtland and see. How do they do it every single year? Eight championship games. That's impressive. Every year, you're losing kids. You got kids coming up. That program has been just built so well that they must have a really good youth program on up to continually do that. And Coldwater, like you said, Ed, they're another team that's always there. They're a powerhouse that seem to get it done and are always in the finals there too. So congratulations to both those teams, and we'll see what Kirtland has in the tank left here in the finals. Obviously, they're playing at a high level, and they always have. They've had such a great season.
The interesting fact, Coldwater's only loss is to Maria Stein, Marion Local, 35-0.
Ooh.
So that just tells you how good Maria Stein, Marion Local is.
Unreal.
The Division 6 championship game, this game will be played Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. So you Hornets fans, get down there early. Let's see if Kirtland can bring home another state championship to the Cleveland area. Last and certainly not least, as Sean mentioned earlier, death taxes and Marion Local making it to a state championship game. According to Noah here, we're talking about 15 state championship games in the last 24 years. Actually, the history lesson was fantastic, Josh. Good. I believe in your words. Good effort or great effort. Great effort there. So for Hillsdale, this is their first state championship appearance. They are 14-1. Marion Local, their 15th title in 24 years. That's insane. That's insane. Those Maria Stein, Marion Local is on. We say that certain teams are on another level. These guys are truly on another level. It's a run unlike we've seen in football. Kirtland's one of the only teams that can really match the dominance, and sometimes they have to run into each other. So it's and same thing with Coldwater for that matter. They're in the same conference as Local, and for them to have to play them every year and then sometimes see them in the playoffs. So this is going to be. I think this is going to be. I think Local more than likely is going to win this game. I will probably never pick them to lose until someone beats them, and I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty glaring fact. Congratulations to Hillsdale on making your first appearance, but you get to go up against a team in Marion Local that literally plans their entire school year around the fact that their team's in the state championship. Um, and again, that's not taking anything away from Hillsdale. That's not giving anything more to Marion Local. Just it's the straight up, it's the truth. And Marion Local's a team where they just do what they do. It's a rarity in this world that they are not intimidated. They are not worried. They go in and they handle their business every single year. And sometimes most times they win. Most times they have lost occasionally, but if you're looking for your 15th title, and let's be clear about that, they are looking to get their 15th title in 24 years. That's insane. That's consistency at a level. Whether it's Division 7, I don't care. That's a program right there. That's what you want. That's what all these coaches want, is what Marion Local has, is a team where every single year in their division they are the team to beat. And there's not a lot of discussion out there. Marion Local is one of the best teams, pound for pound, division for division, probably in the state of Ohio. And like you Ed, I'm of that opinion. Until they are beaten, Marion Local is the favorite, and you're not going to tell me different.
That game between Hillsdale of the Wayne County Athletic League, so they're not too far from where we're at. That game will be played. I believe that's going to be a Friday morning game. That game will be Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. between 14-1 Hillsdale and 15-0 Marion Local. All right, that is what we have for the state championship games. Again, Avon is the lone Sports on Tap representative. Kirtland also has a Cleveland flavor. And Hillsdale's not too far, being out there in Wayne County or somewhere around Wayne County. So, but they're playing Marion Local. Good luck. But good luck to all the teams in the state championship games. And we will be back next week to talk about the state championship games. And we were looking to get some coaches on too to talk about their seasons. We'll see if we can get either a coach or a player from Avon. We'll see if we can get that going. Obviously, I think a lot of that'll probably depend on how the game goes. Maybe, but we should have more. We'll go through a little bit of the season next week as well. All right. One more quick shout out from me. I don't know if Josh has something he wants to shout out.
I have something.
Rob was okay. So first, the team that I've been talking about from Northern Virginia, the Patriot Pioneers. Their season unfortunately came to an end to the number 6 seed in their region, to Colonial Forge, 42-14. They do lose in the regional championship. But a big shout out to Jack Fowler. Again, his dad Mike is one of our friends from high school. Jack did catch a touchdown pass in the game.
Nice.
Cut the Forge lead from 14-0 to 14-7. Is a nice play action pass in a double tight formation, and he earned it. He busted through a couple tackles to get across the goal line. So, obviously not the way that the Pioneers wanted to end their season, but that's what a great season. I think everyone, in talking with Mike, really special group of kids, and Jack's only a junior, so he'll be back next year as a senior, and his brother Dan's going to join him as a freshman next year at at Patriot for the Pioneers. So congratulations to Pioneers on a great season in Northern Virginia. Rob, what do you got?
I just wanted Canton, the Hall of Fame Stadium, to be ready, because I'm coming for you on Thursday night. As I am going to travel down to Canton and cover the Avon Eagles taking on the Cincinnati Andersons. So hopefully everybody will be ready, and Avon fans travel well. Come pack the stadium and support the Eagles there. It's going to be a great game. I'm really excited. We only get 3 minutes for video highlights, but there should be interviews in there that we can do separately and put on our Twitter. So follow us on Twitter for all those updates, and hopefully it's going to be a little different situation. I know it probably won't be able to go on the field like we usually do in midfield and get video and pictures of coin tosses and stuff like that, but hopefully be roaming and getting some good highlights of some touchdowns by the Avon Eagles is what I'm hoping for. But it should be a great game, and I'm excited to travel to Hall of Fame Stadium.
I just want to give a quick shout out to your Cleveland Cavaliers who defeated the Boston Celtics tonight, 115-111. Good job, fellas.
Yo, way to avenge that loss last
man.
week in the NBA Cup. Getting back on the right track. Had a little bit of trouble with the Atlanta Hawks, but back on the winning track, especially taking out the defending NBA champions in the Boston Celtics. So great job for the Cavaliers there. Last and certainly not least, Wednesday, 3 days from tonight, we will be back on the ice. Myself and Sean Duffy will be on the call for Elyria Catholic versus Normandy in a Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League matchup. That game will be played out of Elyria. The game will start at 7 p.m. We'll be on a little bit beforehand to talk a little bit about the game. But this is the first of our live streams of Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League action. So Hockey Night in Northeast Ohio returns Wednesday, December 4th at 7 p.m. Again, make sure you subscribe and like us on YouTube. You'll get the notifications when we are about to go on live for that broadcast. And then we are tentatively slated to go to see Mentor and Hudson. That game will be at Mentor on December 20th. So it'll be Red Division action for the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League on Friday, December 20th from Mentor as well, but we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show. We want to thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter/X. Get the live updates of the Division II state championship game between Avon and Anderson. Thank you to our own Rob Troutman for making the track down there. And then Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Spotify, we're all over the place there. SportsOnTapPodcast.com is the website there as well. And last and certainly not least, go Browns. We'll see if they can go into Denver and do something they haven't really done quite often, and that's win in Denver.
Let's win out. Let's win out and go to the playoffs. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the enthusiasm. I like the enthusiasm. So go Browns tomorrow night, and we will see you back here at Sports on Tap next Monday night's normal time and normal date. For Rob Troutman, Sean Duffy, Noah Jacobson, Josh Jeffy, my name is Ed Dick. This has been the High School Sports Recap Show from Sports on Tap, presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance. Stay tuned for a word from our sponsors, and we will see you on the other side.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com. Elevate your brand with Mako Custom Printing. Mako Custom Printing specializes in creating high-quality spiritware, corporate apparel, and promotional products that make your brand stand out. Whether you need custom printing, graphic design, or an online store for your school or business, we've got you covered. Make a statement with Mako Custom Printing. Visit us at mako.com to start your custom printing journey today. That's MEHCO.com.